So it's just gone 11 o'clock. This is Later with Anna Williamson. It is Talk Radio. It is Saturday night. Hope you've been enjoying the show. Thank you so much for your company tonight. God, you know what? Where's the time gone? It's just rattling ahead, let me tell you, rattling into Sunday already. But not just yet, which is good, because we've got loads still to come between now and midnight. We're going to be talking dominatrix very, very soon. Ooh, can't wait for a bit of that. However, before that, now, this is all about getting down and dirty in the bedroom. Okay, anxiety in the bedroom. Now, could you relax and fully enjoy your partner and yourself in the bedroom? Well, not everybody can. Now, having sex anxiety is a very common issue. So how do you deal with it? That's what we're going to be talking about right now with Matt Kendall, therapist and specialist in social anxiety, and is an ex-dating coach as well. So more than highly qualified for this. Good evening, Matt.
Hello, how are you doing?
Yeah, really well, thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your... I'm no doubt I can hear it's nice and busy Saturday night you've got going on there.
It certainly is, actually, yeah. I'm out in central London at the moment, but I've just found a quiet space to come and talk to you this evening.
Oh, I'm very grateful you have. You see, this is what I like about this show, because we're just very real. There we go. We just casually get Matt, just to join us for a bit of sex anxiety chat going on. So first things first, some of my wonderful listeners might not have even heard of it before. So it sounds pretty obvious, but would you mind just describing in your words what actually is sex anxiety?
Well, sex anxiety is not the phobia, but like it's intimacy issues, essentially. You have, obviously, men, basically for the purpose of this evening, I will assume they're heterosexual relationships and we have men and women, just to make things easy. So you have male sexual anxiety and female sexual anxiety.
Right.
Male sexual anxiety mainly is around performance.
Sure.
And women's female sexual anxiety tends to be through lack of comfort, and the vast majority of women have been in some kind of, how do I describe it? Not necessarily been sexually abused, but there has usually been some cases where they've been put in sexual uncertainty. And when women aren't feeling secure and comfortable with the situation, it can create anxiety because women are much more vulnerable than it is with men. And I tell you what, it's much easier for women to actually have sex than men to have sex, because with men, they have to perform. They literally have to perform.
Well, yes. I mean, my next question was going to be, surely for, arguably for, I'm female, obviously, you're a guy. But, let's just be frank here. When push comes to shove, as a female, yes, if I just lay there, close my eyes, it could happen to me because I don't actually have to do anything. But as you say, for a guy, they have to physically be in a position of arousal to actually do the deed. So is it kind of a bigger deal, more difficult being a guy to suffer with sexual anxiety, would you say?
I believe so. The thing is, because with a man, the problem is with anxiety. Anxiety is a perceived threat. It's not actually real. And anxiety feeds off itself. So with men, if they feel, or if they think they're going to perform badly, and to maintain an erection or to please the woman, should we say, that in itself will cause. It's all to do with basically distribution of blood within the body. And when you're in high states of anxiety, having sex is not at the top of the priority list. Getting away and actually running away and self-preservation is actually obviously much more important. So what happens is that just by thinking about the problem, creates the problem. Do you see what I mean? So it's kind of like circular logic.
It's chicken and egg, isn't it?
Absolutely. So the more you worry about it, the more likely it will actually happen.
And as you say, so it's quite deep root. I mean, I know quite a bit about anxiety myself, but not necessarily in a sexual sense. But yes, it is when it psychologically it takes its root, doesn't it? And I don't know if you agree with this or not, but I feel sometimes it is a very, even though it comes under a kind of a mental and emotional sort of well-being topic, it's a very physical one, isn't it? Because if you get that deep-rooted anxiety, it does just then have this impact physically on us.
Of course, it has that impact physically on you and on when you're in the moment, should we say. But the thing is also, our brain is brilliant at creating virtual reality scenarios of future-based problems. And so not only does it happen in the moment, it's also you bring this baggage with you to your next partner or to your next encounter. And so without effective ways of literally just clearing this stuff out, because The problem is with anxiety, if you try to just put happy feelings on stuff and soup things up, that just creating big happy feelings also creates anxiety. So that actually just trying to force your way through a problem can often make the problem much, much worse. So the best thing to do is when both partners, well, let's just say there are two partners within this scenario, when they are both
Let's make it simple.
let's make it relaxed. A man, a woman in a situation, if they are both relaxed, that is the best situation to sort of be in. When they don't have the body hang-ups, when they are, what a lot of people will do, they will try and get drunk or do drugs to try and counteract this. Now, having a drink or two can relax you, and it can definitely help. But if when people have too much, then it creates problems. And then obviously every experience you have, you're laying down memory.
Sure.
That so when you're thinking about the next experience, you're actually projecting through these memories, which cause, again, so it's all sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy in that sense.
Absolutely. And of course, if you've had a skinful and you don't even, you barely remember the act, then we've got even more anxiety that perhaps is going to creep up afterwards, going, oh my giddy aunt, what did I do? I don't even remember. But how likely is it that we suffer with sex anxiety? How many people do? Is it a very common thing?
Well, to be honest, I think everybody does.
Yeah, I would agree.
Unless you're in a long-term relationship and you've been with somebody who you may have been maybe your first partner and you've been with them for a long, long time, I think every single person will have some form of sex anxiety, especially at the beginning of. Well, there's two kind of main areas. There's the beginning of the relationship where you're having sex anxiety because of it's a new thing. And then the thing is, once you're in a mature relationship, so say you've been with somebody for a few years, you actually can have sex anxiety before, because basically this doesn't really get talked about as much, but people say they have like erectile dysfunction and stuff like that. And it's not necessarily that. It's basically that the guy no longer finds the woman attractive.
Yes.
And that's the problem, because they've become far too comfortable.
Yep.
She might not be doing the things he likes anymore. She might, you know what I mean? That sounds awful, but it is true.
And I think, arguably, we're all a bit guilty of that, aren't we, at times? We do get a bit comfy in our slippers and our dressing gowns.
Comfortable, absolutely.
And I look like an absolute mess half the time when I walk around my house. I'm sure my husband takes one look at me and the sex anxiety is rife.
Well, it's not, and the thing is, men will often feel pressure because the women also still want to have sex, but if the guy doesn't find it's appealing, there's a lot of anxiety. So basically, I have a lot of guys. I don't do much private work anymore. I used to do an awful lot in the dating world. A lot of the men who I used to see is because their girlfriends, wives, or partners had made them come there, but they were actually having an affair or seeing somebody else, and their sex life has been absolutely fine with other people. Right. It's just been within this relationship, and so their partner is thinking, well, there's something wrong with that person. And generally, because it's easier to say, do you know what? It's because there is a medical problem, and it's easier to do that and get a pill or some solution rather than thinking, actually, we're not in love or we don't find each other attractive anymore.
Wow, absolutely. So, I mean, how do we combat this? How can we get through this? I think we've agreed, that for guys, physically it's perhaps a little trickier, but that's not to say that obviously for women, sex anxiety is a very big thing. As you say, women that have perhaps had issues in the past, or things that have gone on that they're very nervous about.
Of course.
So, how do we get, what are the best ways of dealing with anxiety in the bedroom, and how can we relax to actually counteract it?
Okay, well, there's several different approaches. My personal favourite, what I do now, is called IEMT, which is Integral Eye Movement Therapy, which is about reprocessing and re-understanding past negative trauma. That's essentially what I do. So if a woman has had, if she's been sexually abused or raped, whatever it might be, the thing is, they are never going to be able to give themselves fully. And as soon as, if a guy's a decent guy, and if he notices that the girls who he's with, especially at the beginning, there's some resistance or she's not having fun, it'll impact him mentally, massively. And so the best thing to do is, if you're having sex anxiety of any form, is first of all, before you enter into a new relationship or you go out dating again, is to actually seek some kind of help and treatment for it. So when you're going into your next relationship, you're not carrying all this baggage with you. So the thing is, you can then see the new person for who they are, and not because of the previous experiences that you've actually endured. So you actually see somebody for who they are. The best thing once you're in a relationship is honest and open communication between the two parties. Because I'll let you into a little secret here. Men are very easily pleased. We really are.
Okay.
We are so easily pleased, it's unbelievable. And we like just stupid stuff that's just like, we like girls dressing up, we like them acting or talking in a certain way. Now, girls will think it's definitely a little bit silly. But imagine go to a strip bar, it's like a fancy dress party. With, you know what I mean? All these different kinds of fantasies. And the thing is, it's like tonight throughout London, all the strip bars will be absolutely packed with men who are probably in relationships, a lot of them, because they're getting this fantasy they're not getting at home. They're not going home to see this, something who's been with for a long time.
Yeah, the pressure's off almost, isn't it? It's that creative outlet or whatever it might be is making them feel relaxed. Yeah, I know, I get it.
And also, if the sex or if the intimacy is kind of lacking in a relationship, the thing is, if a woman makes a guy feel great sexually, he will not stray. He will be so faithful. Men are dogs,
He won't need burgers because I'll have steak at home, right?
He'll have steak at home. But the thing is, it's like, and I often think that men get actually more out of sex than women tend to do, but women get more out of a relationship than men do.
Oh, interesting.
And I think there has to be a definite, rather than a power play, more like an open thing. Go, hey, look, if I do these things, or if I dress this, we will then go to IKEA, or do you know what I mean? But there has to be some sort of balance. And if a man, if you keep a man interested sexually, that's the best thing to do. And I know that sounds awful, but the thing is, if you have a really good sex life with somebody, the rest of your life tends to be really good as well. And whenever I work with people with anxiety or depression and stuff like that, and you ask about their sex, it tends to be either non-existent or awful.
Interesting. Well, I was going to say, actually, you know, how can anxiety in the bedroom actually creep in and affect everyday lives?
It ruins your life completely.
Right. So if you were to give one piece of advice then, Matt, sort of wrapping it all up, really interesting, actually, listening to you. One piece of advice that you could give to anyone listening now going, yeah, do you know what? At times, I do get a bit anxious in the bedroom, whether it be male or female. What could you? What bit of advice could you give them that they could little nugget of hope from the show tonight?
Ask what the other person wants and likes.
Like it.
Now, if you can supply and fulfill the needs of another person, and if you're willing to go first, the law of reciprocity will state that other person will then try to fulfill your needs. So if you basically think, right, that our time together sexually is about giving that person as much pleasure as I can, you will both win. And you will both have a happy relationship together. Well said. Matt Kendall, therapist, specialist in social anxiety and ex-dating coach. And quite frankly, my little guru there on sex anxiety. Thank you very much, buddy. Have a great night. You too. Thank you very much. Thank you. So there we have it. Sex anxiety in the bedroom. And some top tips there from Matt. Stay with us. We're going to be doing BDSM. Well, we're not going to be doing it, but we're